Have you ever seen someone so hungry for power they'd call the cops on you at 3 a.m. over literally nothing? Well, let me tell you, not only have I seen it, I was the one on the receiving end, and I can't lie. There's a certain satisfaction in watching that person realize the guy they picked a fight with isn't some pushover neighbor, but someone whose day job is tearing down people much more cunning and dangerous than them. My name's Alex Taylor, and for almost 10 years, my world was all about high-stakes investigations, federal cases, financial crimes, corporate fraud. Think forensic accountant with a badge and a knack for unraveling empires built on lies. All I ever wanted at the end of the day was a little peace. Just a quiet place to disappear. That's why I picked Oak Ridge Estates, some leafy suburb, where the loudest thing at night was the breeze. But Oak Ridge had a catch, and her name was Brenda Miller, president of our HOA and self-appointed queen of the cul-de-sac. Brenda lived for bylaws, wrote those monthly newsletters like royal decrees, and strutted around with her clipboard ready to pounce on anyone stepping out of line. My first taste of Brenda came less than a week after I moved in. She knocked on my door, eyes scanning me like I'd just dumped trash on her lawn. She pointed at my simple welcome mat. Apparently, according to Rule 7 section, whatever, only natural coir fiber mats with earth tones were allowed. I hadn't even seen the bylaws yet. I said I'd swap it out, but honestly, it was the look in her eyes that got me, the way she seemed to get off on the whole thing. From there, it just kept coming. My trash cans were too close to the curb. A wind chime from my sister was noise pollution. Every note came with a fine and a side of condescension. I paid up, hoping she'd move on. I unspool multi-million-dollar frauds for a living. I wasn't trying to get into a battle over a doormat. But then I started working from home, burning the midnight oil in my home office, and Brenda lost her mind. She'd sit across the street staring at my window like I was running a casino in there. What she didn't know is I've got a particular set of skills. Yeah, the Liam Neeson kind. I see patterns, I connect dots, I exploit arrogance. And that 3 a.m. call to 911, that was her crossing the Rubicon. Picture it. I'm deep in spreadsheets, it's pitch black, and suddenly there's pounding on my door. 2 cops, tired eyes, standing on my porch, and there's Brenda in her robe, arms folded like some kind of villain straight out of a Disney movie. "Sir, sorry to bother you," one cop says. "Unusual activity, possible intruder." I look at Brenda. She's smirking like she's won the lottery. "Officers, that's just me working on a deadline." The young one's like, "You're an accountant working at 3 a.m. Before I can answer, Brenda starts shouting about suspicious behavior, talking about quiet enjoyment covenants, and how I'm a menace. The older cop just sighs. He's seen enough of these HOA dramas to know where it's going. "Ma'am, a man working late isn't a crime." She's furious. For all we know, he's running something illegal. I told the officers I'd turn off the light if it bothered her, though mind you, my blinds were closed. Brenda's face just twisted in rage as the cops walked away. Next day, I try to talk it out like adults. I walk over, ring the bell, and before I can knock, she's at the door, snapping. "What do you want?" I say. "Brenda, that was out of line. You could have called or emailed. We're neighbors." She laughs. Cold, sharp. "The rules are the rules. People like you don't belong here. Last night was a warning. Live by the standards or life gets real uncomfortable." She slammed the door. Standing there, I knew this wasn't about mats or lights. Brenda just liked to crush people. And the guy she just threatened, well, I decided it was time to dust off my old skill set because this would be my new investigation. Call it Project Nightingale, a nice nod to the street she thought she ruled. First step always is paperwork. I pulled public filings, county property records, the whole 9 yards. Next, I sent Brenda a formal by-the-book request for every HOA document citing state law. I knew this would drive her nuts, someone speaking her language, but better than her. While I waited, I started watching the neighborhood. I noticed the same landscaping truck, Miller's Majestic Lawns, rolling up twice a week. Cute, her family name on the side. Her 2 lieutenants always with her. and everyone else avoided eye contact, walked on eggshells. I chatted with a retired engineer named George who grumbled about rising fees, and a young mom, Sarah, fined for her kids' chalk drawings. Brenda ruled by fear, and the money was moving in odd ways. A week later, Brenda dropped a fat envelope of documents on my porch. I spread them out and got to work. The budget showed a giant spike in landscaping costs, and sure enough, the contractor was Brenda's brother-in-law. No bids, no transparency, just approved by Brenda and her two loyalists. I cross-referenced every fine, every made-up rule. No wind chimes chalk as graffiti mats must be choir fiber. Nothing had been voted on. Not one was publicized properly. Brenda was just inventing laws, fining people and pocketing the proceeds. Classic fraud dressed up as community order. But you can't just drop the hammer. People need to see it with their own eyes. So I started building a quiet alliance. George was in once he saw the numbers. Sarah, too, after I showed her how Brenda's rule wasn't even legal. Next step, bait the queen. I bought a garden gnome, Bartholomew, as I dubbed him, and plopped him in my flower bed right inside of Brenda's house. Cameras rolling, I waited. She took the bait in record time. Furious emails, threats of fines, calls for hearings. I kept quiet. Then came the emergency community meeting called to make an example of me. Picture this clubhouse packed, Brenda at the head table, cops at the back, neighbors buzzing. She rails against my crimes, the mat, the wind chime, my offensive gnome. Her proposal, a $1,000 fine, a lien on my home, and exile from Oak Ridge Estates. The room was stunned. She finally let me speak. I stepped up, thanked her for reminding everyone how important rules are, then started putting up evidence, bylaws, financials, meeting minutes. Where are the records for these rules? Where's the competitive bid for this contract? I asked. Silence. Then Sarah stood up. She fined me $50 for chalk. George, I was fined for mulch. The room shifted. Brenda tried to shout over the questions, but the floodgates were open. Then I pulled out my badge. I'm a special agent with the Treasury Department. Financial crimes, embezzlement, fraud. That's my world. The air went out of the room. Brenda went pale. Even the cops straightened up. Now she saw not just a neighbor, but someone who'd been collecting evidence. Neighbors started demanding answers. How much did your brother-in-law get? Where'd the money from the fines go? I want my $50 back. Brenda shrank her supporters, inching away. George called for her removal. Every hand in the room went up, even one of her former lieutenants. Brenda made a run for it, slipping out the side door, her reign over. The next day, I dropped off a binder at the district attorney's office, and the official investigation started rolling. Brenda put her house up for sale in record time, skipped town before it even closed. The new board put the landscaping contract up for bid prices, dropped nearly 40%. Everyone who'd been fined got a refund. The new HOA sent the covenants to every resident, scheduled real town halls, and slowly the fear melted away. Neighbors started saying hi again, kids' chalk drawings reappeared, and Bartholomew the gnome still smiling. Still, there became our unofficial mascot. I got the quiet I was looking for, but with it came a better kind of peace, one built on neighbors looking out for each other, not ducking their heads. It all started because Brenda, with her tiny taste of power, couldn't resist pushing someone who was more than ready to push back. So what do you think? When someone abuses a little power, do you fight back or keep your head down? Let me know. I have a feeling every neighborhood's got a Brenda and maybe just maybe a Bartholomew too.